Hi, One Best PR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. This is the Into the Weekend with BetDSI show for NFL Week 16. Unfortunately, due to scheduling issues, we are shooting this video on Tuesday as opposed to the normal day that we shoot it, which is Friday. So that means it's a completely different show, a lot less information, but it's always interesting to hear what Brent has to say. Brent, the first thing I have to ask you about, though, the talk of the sports betting world is that last week was a bloodbath in the NFL for the books. It was like that scene in The Shining where the blood's coming through the elevators. Was it that bad? Disaster, right?
Well, whenever you want to talk about it, you know that it was bad for us.
Yes.
Whenever it goes good for us, Peter's not interested. He just wants to move on to the next one. But
that's
no,
right.
It wasn't.
We love to hear about this stuff, Brent.
Yeah, it wasn't great for us for sure. But again, you got to factor in like parlays and teasers that you can break up and stuff like that. So you kind of you end up surviving for sure. Games like Pittsburgh and Denver falling the way it fell, and on 7 the way that line shot up, and that's never good for us, of course. And the teams that are supposed to winning, which again not good for us. We still had sharp money on teams like Oakland, for example, tons of public money the other way on Green Bay. So I mean, those are situations where you're glad that you've got the sharp guys betting more money when they're wrong, and as long as they're not on the same side as the public and when they're right, that's the kind of thing. So I mean, a case like that where with Green Bay covering, I mean, that game, you would think, oh, that's not a good result for us. But because we had sharp money on Oakland, it kind of balanced off. We took fewer bets. We could take half as many bets on Oakland and twice as many on Green Bay and still be balanced on the game. So situations like that kind of help us out a bit. But yeah, I mean, when you look at teams that get teased and stuff like that, like Carolina, how they came in, and Seattle and stuff like that, you can just look at the scores and say, yeah, that probably wasn't very good, and it wasn't.
All right. Well, one game that seems like it's shaping up to be, another key element in a second consecutive bloodbath, if that were to happen this week, is Pittsburgh at Baltimore, right? Pittsburgh's going to be a huge public play, and I'm assuming a massive public teaser side. Can Baltimore hang? I don't know, but that's going to be a big public play and a big loser if a Pitt runs away with it, right?
Count-wise, straight bets, again, the volume's kind of low, so I'm about 3-1 in favor of Pittsburgh. My money's not as bad as you might think, maybe 2-1. When you factor in parties and teasers, we're talking 10-1. So yeah, I mean, people are all over Pittsburgh, but I don't have any what I'm going to call sharp list guys on this game so far, but I do have a couple of very respectable people. And you talk about where our line is. We're sitting Pittsburgh -10 right now at Baltimore. We'll call it pseudo sharp money, -9.5 on Pittsburgh. We went all the way, line just crept because the public is all over Pittsburgh as well. Right. Crept up to, got up to 10.5. Sharp money came on Baltimore at 10.5. So it's a situation where it's not too bad in terms of where we're sitting right now. I mean, yeah, we did have to go up to 10.5, but we got money on both sides. We're sitting at 10 right now. It's really not a bad spot for us. So I do, like I said, I got respectable pseudo sharp action on Pittsburgh -9.5. I got the same situation with the +10.5, so it's not a bad spot for us at all. Total action is almost non-existent. We're sitting at 47 right now, but obviously that's a game where between now and kickoff, a ton of stuff is going to happen with this line.
All right, and then the next game I want to ask about, Redskins-Eagles, huge NFC East clash, and I noticed that the line did take a dip early on, quickly went from 4 down to about 3, wondering if that was early sharp action on the Redskins.
I mean, I've got most of my action, account and money on Washington. I don't have any sharp action on this game involved at all. I do have a count of about 2-1 in favor of Washington, and I've got my money to almost 3-1 in favor of Washington as well. Teaser-wise, I've got action on both sides of this game, so really nothing sharp involved at all.
All right, and then the third game I want to ask you about, again, it is only Tuesday, but the Pats-Jets game, always a big rivalry matchup, and I'm assuming usually a game with very high betting volume, and, the Pats now, as you've told us week in and week out, always a big public side. They have covered 2 games in a row now, so as just a small road favorite against the Jets, I'm assuming that this is going to be a massive public play, probably the biggest public play of the week, right?
Yeah, I mean, so far it's pretty big. I would say right now that Pittsburgh, as we touched on, is probably the biggest one right now. Pittsburgh, Carolina, New England, they're all real big. Mm-hmm. But this is a good game for us right now in terms of where we're sitting because we had sharp action come in on New England -3, -110.
Wow, okay.
Sharp action on the Jets +3, +05. So it just, right now it's looking like a situation where we're going to be able to sit on 3 and just move the juice back and forth and balance our action. My count obviously favors New England, no surprise there. About 5-1 in terms of the straight bets. If you factor in the parlays and teasers, almost 7-1. So again, public is going to be all over New England for sure. As long as I'm, sitting around 3-1-20, stuff like that, I'm probably going to be balanced on this game. Again, it took 3 minus a quarter for the Sharps coming on the Jets +3 +05. When we were 3 minus 110, they laid New England. Again, we're talking Tuesday. A ton of stuff is going to happen between now and kickoff. Based on the early action, I don't see us having to move off the 3.
All right, Brent, thanks for all the info. Of course, between now and kickoff, the betting profiles for a lot of these games, maybe all of them, will change drastically. But as of right now, Tuesday afternoon, what can you tell us about notable action that you've taken so far?
The New York Giants +6.5. Grab some of that when you can, Peter. They are at Minnesota, and that was sharp there. Right now, if my count is it's pretty much even, actually, not too bad at all. But my money definitely favors the Giants. Minnesota's a home favorite -6. Total there is 45.5, but the Giants +6.5, definitely sharp there. Down to Dallas and Buffalo. Dallas is at Buffalo. Buffalo's a 6-point favorite. Total is down to 43 right now. I've got sharp action on the under 43.5. Detroit, that's another play. Detroit is up to a 9-point favorite right now. They're at home in San Francisco. San Francisco, just injuries just keep on smacking them. Even their backup to the backup running back is looking like he's not going to be around. So Detroit is a 9-point favorite at home. Sharp money came on Detroit -7.5, -115. Total's 43. Nothing on the total there. Cleveland, Kansas City. Cleveland's at Kansas City. Line was Kansas City -13. We're down at 12.5 right now. Sharp action came out on Cleveland +13, and the totals dropped from 44 all the way down to 42.5. I got sharp action under 44 there as well. And again, we got, decent action on the rest of these games. Even like Arizona, Green Bay, so looking like a good game. My count's almost dead even on that one. Cincinnati and Denver, quite one-sided in favor of Denver, which I'm kind of surprised at. But Denver -3.5, -05 right now. But I got decent action that way. My count, like I said, is about 2-1 in favor of Denver. Nothing real sharp involved, but just real good action both ways. So the Giants +6.5, Dallas and Buffalo under 43.5. Detroit -7.5, -15, and Cleveland and the under in that same game. That's the sharp stuff in NFL, Peter.
Brent, thanks so much. We will be back with you next Tuesday once again for NFL Week 17.